This is why I deleted my Tinder and why every single girl watching this needs to delete her Tinder too. This happened a few years ago and I honestly consider myself so incredibly lucky to be alive after experiencing this. I was living in New York City at the time and I matched with a guy. For the entire time we were talking, he was really aggressively trying to get me to go out with him. And eventually I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let this guy take me out on a date. Maybe I'm just being judgmental. Maybe he's not being desperate. Maybe he's just putting in an effort. So the day of the date rolls around and he tells me that he wants to take me out to a restaurant that is a bit of a hidden gem and is a little bit outside of the city in an area of Westchester called Yonkers. And even though he offered to drive me, I was like, no, it's all good. I actually had my own car in New York City, so I agreed to meet up with him. Now, I feel like an absolute idiot because I didn't even Google this place before I went. So on the night of the date, I'm driving to this place. I put it into my GPS and it's really weird because as soon as I see it in the GPS, it says that the place is closed. So I text my date and I'm like, hey, I just put this place into the GPS and it is telling me that it is actually closed. To which he replies, oh no, don't worry. They're really bad at updating their hours. This is the part where I should have just been like, oh hell no, and I should have canceled the date. But somehow I decided it would be a good idea to get in my car and drive 40 minutes to Yonkers for a date with a guy. So after 40 minutes of driving in traffic, I arrive at this place in Yonkers. I pull up to the building and I quickly realize that there is nobody in the parking lot and that indeed this business is really closed. Not to mention, my car is the only car in the parking lot. So I start to panic, and as I look behind me to put my car in reverse, I notice another car pull up. This car pulls up right beside me. I don't even look at the person sitting in the car. I just simply back up out of that parking lot as fast as I can, and I get the heck out of there. The entire way home, I am just looking in my rear view mirror to see if there's anyone behind me, and thankfully there was not. And the craziest part of all of this is when I got home, I went back onto that dating app and I could see that the profile had unmatched with me. I never got a chance to screenshot that profile. I never learned the guy's last name, but I can't tell you guys how many times I've heard this happening to girls on dating apps. It's not worth it. Just delete it for your own safety. And if you are going to be on dating apps, please always make sure to get the person's last name and to meet in a place that you are familiar with.
Alright, yo, I'm about to do story time because y'all know, like, I always get on here and I be talking about, like, people dating preferences, and that's, like, one of my biggest topics. So, story time, because I feel like sometimes when I be giving game, a lot of motherfuckers be offended, but I be speaking from experience. Sorry that the light not even. I can't get it even, but... So, story time, I was talking to a dude and his ass was crazy as hell. Now, me, I got a record of, like, every dude I done fucked with, they ass was crazy. I'm crazy, too, but I ain't, like... I didn't talk to people that's mentally ill, people that's thrown off, motherfuckers that just crazy. They all different. If you know, you fucking know. So, boom. I'm working at my job or whatever. Work at the grocery store, and... one day, like, this man come in and he got his kids and shit. I don't really talk to nobody with no kids, but honestly, like, at this time in my life, I'm, like, hella, like, I wouldn't say lonely, but I did want, like, you know how you always got a little boo to call, like, y'all at least go to eat, or, like, you just got somebody to do some shit with, and then I think my sister, we were super close at the time, like, she had moved states and shit, so, and then, like, my other friend, like, she be doing hers, so it's just, like, damn, so I was thinking, like, I kind of do want to, like, start back talking to somebody, whatever, right? So I'm at my store and I'm like on register and this man come up, dark skin, kind of buff, like very masculine, like vibe. He got some chains and shit on. I don't know. I don't really give no fuck about shit like that, but like, you know, he looked cool. But he had came with his family. Like he was with like probably his nieces, his nephew, and like his kids and his mother or some shit like that. So we in the line, we talking cool, like we just kicking it. I think very good chemistry. So I said to myself, because I don't really give people my number at work and all of that shit. So I had said to myself, I'm like, all right, if I see him again, then I'll give him my number. But I'm not going to give him my number now. Like, I'm just going to kick it, be cool, because, you know. So, boom, motherfucking, I end up seeing him again. And I think he came to my register again this time. He like, oh, I be doing music here. Take my number for my music. You know, he's just slick trying to get my number, whatever. End up giving him the shit, right? So I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm kind of pressed, because I'm like, all right, let me see what's to him. Because you know how you think somebody cute, and you just kind of be like, oh, like, I wonder how this gonna go. It was like that. I wouldn't say, I ain't gonna use the word press, but I was like, looking forward, you know. So, boom, time go on. We probably text for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We never talked on the phone. We always was just like texting because I was doing whatever I had to do. Excuse you, ho. I had whatever I had going on. He had whatever he had going on. So we probably text for like 2 or 3 weeks, just texting. Like, now and then, what you doing? Da, 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 da. Like, and then around this time, I was kind of back and forth out of town anyways. So boom, like 3 weeks of texting him, we finally end up like linking up or whatever. So he ended up taking me out to, we went to eat. And then we had went to like a little arcade place or whatever. I never been on a date at an arcade ever, like, but it was fun as shit. Like, when you got chemistry with somebody, like, shit like that don't matter. Like, it was fun, like, and we was like playing basketball. Like, it was just real cool, real cute or whatever. No, that was that. Now, honestly, usually, like, I'm very, like, I have a lot of discernment. Like, I know how to read people and stuff like that. But maybe I think in this time of my life, I might low-key didn't even care. Because the nigga had kids. I don't even be talking to nobody with no kids. It's probably a lot of shit I just was like, oh, I'm just chilling. Like, you know, I don't know. So that was that. We had went out or whatever. Fast forward, like, I think I was trying to see him again. Now, the only difference this time is every time I was trying to see him, like, something will always come up, either him or me. And the shit happened about like 3 or 4 times in between us trying to see each other. And I remember thinking, like, to myself after that, because I'm real big on, if, like, say you keep calling your Uber and that shit keep getting canceled, that shit trying to tell you not to go. Like, you feel me? I'm real big on shit like that. So I start to think, like, damn, what if it's not even meant for me to go? This also gonna turn a little spiritual, so y'all listen. But I'm like, damn, what if it's not even really meant for me to go be around this nigga for real? Because I never had that happen with, like, some keep coming up with me, then some come up with you. It's like almost like bringing a bridge in between us, like, you know. So anyway, one night my homegirl, she had went to go with her boo or whatever, because we stay with each other or whatever. So she had went to go with her boo. And then he was been supposed to see me, but just so happened this night he was going to be able to see me. Now, I was mad as shit. I had an attitude because I been thought he was going to come see me during the daytime earlier, but he said he ended up having to do some stuff. And it was just like a whole bunch of miscommunication because I was out doing shit too. But I'm like, all right, when I'm ready, be ready. Like, I know that's not right, but I was thinking like, So that's the night he decided, like, all right, he going to be able to come get me, whatever. Because at the time I was not driving, so he'll come get me. So okay, let me tell y'all this shit. This shit gonna sound crazy and it's hecka spiritual. But I remember, like, thinking, like, should I go or not? Because it's kind of weird. Like, it's been endless times we were supposed to go. And, like, something just kept coming up. So I remember, like, I said a prayer. Real big on prayer. I start praying or whatever. And I'm just, like, asking God for, like, protection. Like, you know, make sure I say, like, you know, because, you know, I couldn't really read the situation. Or maybe I didn't want to. Like, you know, so I'm just praying, like, extra protection. So I swear to God, on my granny, I'm standing on the end of the bed and I'm like getting myself together. I think I just had got done doing my hair or something. And I hear this woman voice. I swear to God. I don't even know, y'all. Come back for part 2, matter of fact, because I don't want this to drag.
I'm so sorry that I kept you guys waiting, but I seriously was living the situation up until a couple of hours ago. Quick recap, I went out with a guy that I matched with on Hinge on Saturday night, and it ended up going absolutely terrible. So it's me and my friend. He tells us to show up to his Airbnb at a certain time to pregame with, like, all the rest of his friends. Right when we get there, off the bat, the vibes are off. There's like 3 other girls there. They're getting ready. I introduce myself. Like, I walk up the stairs and I'm like, hi guys, like, I'm Winnie, nice to meet you, because I'm not the bitch that's not about to say hi. When they said hi, it was just like very cold, very annoying. And the Hinge match kept saying, like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry that I had to bring you guys into this vibe. Let's go up to the roof and just like drink there. So we go up to the rooftop. He's chatting about how it's his birthday, how he had rented this Airbnb and how they were being absolutely terrible. Like, they didn't care that it was his birthday. They didn't want to go to any of the places that he wanted to go. And I felt really bad. So me and my friend, we were like, look, just hang out with us. Like, we're going to go out, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to celebrate your birthday. I did start to notice, though, that he was starting to pay more attention to my friend, like ask her more questions and just be a little bit more intrigued in her life. It's not really important to the story, but I just wanted to give you guys, like, the vibes. So it's me, my friend, Hinge guy, his friend. He really wanted to go to this club called Havana, so it's his birthday. We're like, you know, we're gonna do whatever you want to do. His friend calls the Uber, we go down from the roof and we leave and we get in the Uber. The moment we get out of the Uber, I realize that I didn't have my purse. So I'm looking around for my purse. I'm looking at them. I'm like, guys, I don't have my purse. The Uber is driven away. Can you try messaging the Uber? I'm talking to his friend at this point because his friend's the one that called the Uber. Like, can you try messaging him and asking him if the purse is in there? He's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. But chances are your purse is probably in the house. You probably left it there, or you probably left it on the rooftop. I was like, you know what? At this point, I was a little bit tipsy. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, probably. Honestly, it's probably there. So like, no big deal. I also really did not want to ruin this man's birthday and make it about myself. So I was kind of just like, okay, like, hopefully it's at the house. It probably is. And then we can just have a good night. We're at Havana. We're having a good time. I kind of noticed that like at this point that he's like really interested in my friend. So I'm starting to just get like turned off. I'm like, okay, like whatever, it is what it is. After a couple hours, we were lit. We were like, let's head back to the Airbnb. And here's where shit got stressful because it escalated so fast. The moment we get back to his Airbnb, he's like, shh, be quiet. You have to be quiet. The girls are sleeping. Like, don't say a peep. Like, don't say a word. He's not even letting us stay in the house. He's literally saying, go back up to the roof where it's cold as hell. We were drinking. He's like, shh, every little thing we say, if we giggle, if we talk, he would be like, shh. Meanwhile, we weren't even being loud. Like, we were trying to be as respectful as we possibly could be. But it was the fact that every little noise we made, this man was like, guys, you guys are being too loud. It was like, honestly, it just gave me the ick. Like, we get up to the roof, we're talking, we're telling him like how cold we are and how we want to go back inside. And so he's like, fine, like, let's go downstairs. I'm thinking he's going to take us to the kitchen. No, he takes us down one flight of stairs because there's 3 flights of stairs in this condo. It's like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 rooftop. He takes us down the first flight of stairs and like pushes us into his room and locks the door and like closes the door. It was at this moment that I remembered that I still hadn't found or looked for my purse. So I tell him, I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot to look for my purse. Have you talked to the Uber? I look at his friend and I'm like, hey, have you talked to the Uber driver? Have you heard anything? He's like, no, I haven't heard anything. I'm like, can I go and like look in your kitchen? Maybe I left it on the roof. He looks me dead in my eye and is like, shh, no, you can't, no. I'm looking at him in shock, in disbelief. I'm like, what do you mean no? I need to find my purse. My keys to my home are in there and the keys to my car are in there. If I don't find them, like, I'm literally stuck. He proceeds to tell me again, no, I'm sorry, but you can't go look. By this point, his friend had left the room and disappeared. It'd been like 20 or 30 minutes now. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, can we try to contact the Uber? Like, can we please do something? Because us just sitting here and you guys just staring at me is stressing me out. Like, I'm getting nervous. Like, I need to find my shit. At this point, I'm starting to cry. Him and my friend are sitting on the bed. I'm like scooched into a corner, like balled up, crying. Him and my friend are looking at me like I'm fucking insane. I am pleading with this man to please let me go check the roof. Let me go check the kitchen. Like, let me just leave this room. And he's still saying no. At this point, I don't feel like my friend is supporting me at all, and it's 2 against 1, and I'm feeling very, very ganged up on. So I'm like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the bathroom because there was a bathroom attached to the room. I'm like, and you guys can sit here, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna call Corey, my baby daddy. I go into the bathroom because talking to them is not helping. I am still drunk and I'm trying my hardest to still be respectful to this man. So I go into the bathroom, I call Corey crying. Corey is like stressed out. He's like, what's going on? What's happening? I'm telling him what's happening. I'm like, I'm trying to tell them I need to find my keys. I need to find my car keys, and my house keys because I can't get into my house. Like, I'm explaining this to Corey. Corey's like, I don't understand. Like, what's the issue? Like, why can't you look for your shit? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, no one's listening to me, dude. Not even my friend. Like, she wasn't even listening to me. Yes, I was intoxicated, but at the same time, like, I was still very much aware that I needed to find my shit. My friend whips open the bathroom door and she's like, we can hear you talking out here. Like, we can hear you talking shit. And I'm like, okay, but you guys are not helping me. So I had to call Corey to be like, hey, come help me because they're not helping me. I felt like no one was listening to me. It was giving like angry black women freaking out for no reason. At that point, I was really mad at my friend. I had cussed her out because I was like, leave me alone. She ends up storming off. I think she ends up like leaving the room and she's like, fuck it, I'm out of here. She storms off, she leaves. I'm sitting there like crying to Corey, like, hey, like, what do I do? I'm still begging this man, like, can I please just go check? Like, let me just go look. He's still saying no. About 5 minutes later, my friend tries to call me and tells me like, let's go. I called the Uber and I'm sitting here like, no, I already called my child's father. I don't want to hop in the car with you and just be screaming at each other. Like, I'm not arguing with you about this. Like, I'm not doing it. So I completely was like, you go. So she ends up leaving. And another reason why I didn't want to leave is because I still didn't have my shit, right? Like, they didn't even live in Georgia. The moment I would have left, I would have never heard from them again. So I'm talking to the Hinge guy. It's just me and him at this point. And I'm like, can you go ask your friend if the Uber driver has said anything? Like, give me the Uber driver's number. Like, I will go, but like, I need some connection so that I can try to get my purse back. He's screaming back at me like, why are you blaming us? Like, we didn't do anything. He's talking about him and my friend. He's like, we didn't do anything and you're getting mad at us. And I'm sitting here like, I'm not getting mad at you guys. I am just like asking for empathy. Like, help me find my bag. Like, actually care at the fact that I lost my shit. I do take responsibility for losing my shit. That's all on me, but I'm just asking for you to maybe care? Like, what? I really did try to fit this whole story into 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to go to part 2.
The internet loves a hot mess of a dating horror story, and I got lots. So there was this great restaurant down the street from my house that I went to all the time. There was this server. Her name was Carmen, and she was really hot, and we got along really well. She told me she was from Calgary. She didn't know a lot of people, and so I gave her my number. I was like, yo, let's hang. Big mistake. Before I get any further, I do just want to say younger Stacy saw red flags and was like, oh, I could be a flag bearer. I did not have the same wits about me as I do now. So just keep that in mind. Carmen messages me. She's like, hey, some friends and I are going to rock, paper, scissors night at Corduroy. You want to come? And I am competitive and I love games. So I was like, yes, I will be there. I get there. She comes outside to meet me immediately. The first thing she says is not, hi, how are you? It's, are you gay? And I'm like, oh, that's a label that I don't totally like adhere to, but yes, for all intents and purposes, yes, I'm gay. She proceeds to ask me that same question 6 times. At this point, I realize she's hammered. We go in, I meet all her friends. They're all lovely. We're sitting at the table and she's being super handsy all over me. And I'm like, ooh, no. And I keep moving her hand, like her hand was like in my crotch. I'm tired, right? I'm swatting her away constantly. So I go to the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom for like 30 seconds and someone is banging on the door. And I'm like, just a minute. I'll be out in just a minute. The banging continues. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll be done in a sec. And then I hear the bartender go, excuse me, ma'am, I think someone's in there. And I hear her voice go, oh, I know, it's my friend. So I open the door. She barges her way in. She starts to tell me that she's never been with a woman before, really open to exploring. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy for you. Alarm bells are going off in my head. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm not that person. Like, I think you should go do that, but not with me. Puts her hand like this on my mouth and she goes, you're doing a lot of talking. Stop. I want you to kiss me. And I was like, oh, no, nope. Not for me. And at this point, she's so drunk pushing up on me that I'm standing on the toilet seat, standing like this, trying to get away from. We get back to the table and I'm sitting there unsure of what to do. And she puts her hand, she literally goes and gets in the band of my jeans and starts to put her hand down my pants. So I grabbed her hand, I pulled it out of my pants, I slammed it on the table and I said, get your hands off of me. Stop touching me. This chick stood up, looked at me and went, and took her arm and took a whole table, 8 people's blackberry mojitos and went, woo, clotheslined them into my lap in front of all of her friends. Her friends were horrified. Yeah. Her friends were like, oh my God, we're so sorry. Ended up hanging out with them for the rest of the night. They were lovely. Was I covered in blackberry mojitos? Absolutely. But when you're 19, I didn't really care. I did, however, wake up the next day to a text message from her saying, oh my God, what happened last night? I woke up in my bed covered in mustard with a dozen bagels beside me. I was like, no. You don't get away with that. And then years later, I actually was walking down Davie Street and I saw her and she was terrifying. She wouldn't let me pass her on the street. She was walking her bike and she kept like playing defense. I was like, oh my God, I literally ran into traffic and jaywalked to the other side.
Here's how evil men can be. So 2 years ago, I was heavily in my sprinkle era. I was going to like little restaurant bars twice a week, networking, making connections. So, and don't take that wink for anything. It's not like no prostitution or like weird stuff like that. I was literally connecting. Okay. Anyway, I ended up meeting this guy. He like bought me a drink from across the bar, came over, started talking, and anyway, we're really hitting it off. But when you're talking to a middle-aged man, you have to look at his hands always. So I was like, clocked it. He's married. And I'm like, you're married? And he's like, oh, I'm going through this really nasty divorce right now, custody battle, all the things. And I honestly felt really bad for him, low-key. Like the way he was telling the story, mind you, I was at a certain age. This was 2 years ago. So if you know how old I am, then that's how old I was. He gives me like the whole rundown on that. And we did shift the conversation because it was a lot to unpack, like a very heavy conversation. I've never really talked to someone going through a messy, horrible divorce in that way. So we probably talked that night for like 4 or 5 hours, like literally like drink, yap, yap, yap. Here's when things take a turn. So when I got home that night, I ended up doing a full background check on him. And tell me why, baby, there is no wife. There is no kids. There's no nothing. You're gonna be like, wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I went on this man's Facebook, Instagram, radio silence. Not radio silence, by the way. I'm telling you, there is no trace of a wife, of kids, background check. He's never been married. There's no children. Honestly, in my mind, I felt that he could possibly be lying. So I'm like, if he's lying, let me go on his page so I can expose him and tell his wife. There was no one to expose him to. I ended up telling this story to someone recently. They said that some men have this sick, kinky, weird fantasy. Like, men basically enjoy the fact that a woman would get with them knowing they're married. Just know that men are sick and deluded, and something's really wrong with some of them. Because what the frick do you mean?
This creepy story is for all my girls that are on dating apps, and if you're on a dating app, you're gonna wanna listen to this story. This woman downloaded a dating app because she was just bored, and what happens next will make you double check and double think every single swipe and match you've ever made. Have you ever deeped that swiping on dating apps is literally a digital roulette? You're swiping on strangers, specifically strangers that are men, and fully trusting who they say they are. In 2012, this woman downloaded a dating app because she just went through a breakup and she wanted to get to know new people, go out there as you do. She started chatting to this new guy and they agreed to meet up for the first time at a local cafe. At first, he seemed like the ideal man. He was very sweet, really charming, he was good looking. As the date progressed, he then started mentioning details that she had not told him, like the type of dog she has and where she even lives. This really freaked her out, so she decided to end the date and she left and went home. That very night, when she got back home, she noticed a man standing across the street staring at her into her house. She just shut the blinds and went to sleep and decided not to report it. She actually quite secretly liked the attention, but then a few days later, she noticed him at the grocery store, and instead of this guy greeting her and saying hi, he just kind of walked around her and didn't make any eye contact and avoided her. After this happened, she quickly blocked his number and deleted the app. 2 days after this happened, a neighbor spotted an unfamiliar car parked on their street, and inside this car was a man, and he was parked inside this car on their street for hours and hours and hours. So this neighbor decided to call the police because it was just really weird how this guy was just there parked. When the police arrived to investigate what this man was doing parked on their street for hours, the man in the car tried to escape and he tried to drive away. However, the police managed to stop him. They found inside his car sends shivers down my spine. Newsflash, it was the same guy that went on a date with this woman and was following her around the last couple of days. Police found plastic bags, gloves, duct tape, and several weapons. Fingerprints were taken and run through the system, and it came back with a match. Turns out he was a serial fugitive wanted in 3 different states, connected to the unsolved murders of 4 different women. This innocent woman who just downloaded the dating app to get over her ex was going to be next on his list.
Oh, I am done. I'm done with light-skinned men. I don't never want to try none of them again. Men that's the same height as me. If you're even a year younger, I can't do it no more. I can't do it. Let me tell you what happened on this first date I went on yesterday. So I met this boy. We had been talking for like a week and a half. He was like, oh, you want to go out with me? I was like, yeah, I'm always down for a little date. And I've been trying to do this thing where I'm just like being open to trying new things. Even though this guy's not like my type, I still thought he was cute enough to go out with him. So I was like, I'm gonna go out with you, whatever. So the day comes, I'm excited. We're going to Topgolf. I don't really like Topgolf because I'm bad at it, but it's entertaining and it's a fun outside activity, you get drinks. Their food is bomb. I was excited, like I was ready. We get to the date. Everything's pretty chill. Like, smell nice, his clothes nicely put together. Like, it was low-key a vibe until it wasn't. So we were sitting at the bar because, you know, when you're done with your bae, like, you have to get up. We were sitting at the bar upstairs, and he was like, oh, I parked on the other side. Do you mind if you, like, drive me to my car so I can get my vape out? We were just sitting and talking. I was like, cool. Like, who cares? I'll drive you over there. So we get in my car, and you know how cars have Apple CarPlay? So I have one of those in my car, and it's, like, broken. Like, the screen is cracked. And he was like, oh, my God, like, how did this crack? And I was like, oh, because I punched it. He was like, why did you punch it? I was like, because my little brother and his friends were playing jokes on me and they kept farting in the car, which is like a whole nother story for another day. But they were playing with me and I got mad and I started hitting like the bottom of my thing, and I accidentally moved my hand up and I punched my screen and I broke it. Then he randomly was like, oh, you know, I farted on our way over here. I just didn't want to say anything. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, you telling me that for, like, who cares? And so we make it back to where his car is. He gets his vape. We're sitting down. We're talking. We're chilling. And he was like, oh, let me tell you a story. Because we have been telling stories, like, all night. Because he's not from Florida, but he moved down here about, like, 6 months ago. So we were telling stories all night. He's like, oh, let me tell you a story. Tell me why this man puts both of his feet up on my dashboard and farts 3 times. 3 big, wet, nasty farts. Like, and he pushes them out. When I tell you I almost swung on this man in my car, like, I was like, bro, what? Like, come on. And you could tell I'm, like, not feeling the vibe, but I try to do, like, a cute, and then I got out the car. Because the last thing I'm gonna do is smell it. If it stinks, I'm smelling it. I got out of there fast as, because I'm not playing with you. He's in the car, he's turned around, and he's laughing, and he's giggling, and I'm texting my friend, I'm like, friend, Deja girl, can you please, like, call me? I need an excuse so I can get out of here. I'm not finna sit up and play this games with this little boy. Like, so Deja calls me and I'm like, Deja, like, I'm finna tell you the full story later, but I just need to pretend like I'm talking to you right now so I can leave. Like, this is so ghetto. Like, yo, I was so hot, I was so mad. Like, what? So I'm still trying to, like, play nice because I'm out here with this boy by myself. Like, you know how men be men sometimes. I don't need him to, like, while I'm out here. So I'm like, bye, like, I'll see you later. We going for a hug. So we hug. I'm like, I'm not gonna speak to this man again. This is gonna be goodbye. You will never hear from me again, because that blew me. I don't care how good the rest of the day was. That ruined everything. Tell me why when I hug this man, he grabs me, puts his leg around my leg, and farts on me. Yeah. So now I'm mad. I'm actually pissed. I get in my car. I hit that phone FaceTime. You know, you got to call the group chat immediately after. I said, yeah, no. Yeah. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. I'm done. Like, P.U. onion boy. Like, what? I can't. Like, I'm getting mad all over again because it was just a lot. Like, I got on that FaceTime. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this no more. Like, I don't know if I can do men. I definitely am not doing no more light skins. That's not even my type. I was trying something new, and you messed it up for the rest of them. And you know what? Light skin community, blame him. Because what's wrong with y'all person?
One time I was talking to this guy on Bumble and he wanted to go on a first date and he wanted to go on a hike. And I know that's like a new thing now that people want to go on a hike and don't want to get a drink, don't want to do that. I was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go in the middle of nowhere in the woods with someone that I don't know. I was like, well, how about a park or something? He's like, no, I want to go on a hike. And I was like, okay, you're going to go on a hike by yourself then. I'm not going into the woods or into the middle of nowhere with someone I don't even know, sir. And he was like, all right, well, we can go for a drive then. I'm like, I don't want to go for a drive. If I didn't want to go on a hike, I don't want to go for a drive. I do not want to be alone with you, sir. That is not what we're going to do on a first date. Hello, people are crazy. So then he was like super pushy about it, and I thought that was weird. And then he was like, well, that's fine, we can go to this park then, I'll pick you up, what's your address? And I was like, absolutely not, I'm not giving you my address, you're a stranger. And he was like, why I want to be a gentleman, why won't you let me pick you up? And I was like, you can be a gentleman in a million ways, and you being super pushy right now is not the way to be a gentleman. I am not giving you my address. And he was like super aggressive about it. So then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna block you, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. So I blocked him on Bumble. Now, he didn't have my full name, he didn't have my phone number. All of a sudden I get this Facebook message, and he was like, hey, sorry, I'm in the CVS parking lot, someone pulled up next to me. He was like, hey, why did you block me? And I was like, bro, this is why I blocked you. First of all, you were super aggressive. You want to meet in the middle of nowhere. Second of all, you want my address. You're like, want to pick me up, whatever. And now you found me on Facebook. I do not know how. Like, I blocked you, and unless you had my images saved and then you Google image searched me after, like, why did you even have my picture? Like, how could you even find me after Bumble? So then I blocked him on Facebook, and he finds me on Instagram, and I was like, bro, you are boo, 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 like setting up all sorts of alarms. So then I got back on Bumble, and I like reported him to Bumble, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. He seems super creepy. He's super pushy about a first date. He wants to meet a first date in the middle of nowhere. He wants to meet in the woods. He wants to go for a drive, whatever. Now he's found me on all of these different forms of social media. So I blocked him. I blocked him here. I blocked him on all forms of social media that I can. And then I didn't hear from him again, but I was like, this is a little sketchy. So I have the guy's like information, and I am always like watching the news to see if maybe he pops up as like a serial killer or something. But I think I might post him on one of those Are We Dating the Same Guys and just be like, hey, alert, alarms, like watch out for this dude because he wants to meet you in the middle of nowhere, wants your address, and then he gets really angry if you don't give it to him.
Let me tell you about the worst date I have ever been on in my entire life. I met this man on Bumble, and we talked on the phone for probably like a week before the date came to fruition. He had been like calling and FaceTiming me, which like me personally, I like that. I know that you're real now. I know that you're like actually a young man now, like we're chilling. So like I prefer that. But first red flag, introduced me to his mom on FaceTime like 2 days into knowing each other and hadn't even met yet. So the day of the date came, and if I don't feel fully confident in like my safety with you, I'm not giving you my address. So he really wanted to pick me up, and I was like, no, like we can meet somewhere and then I'll get in your car. Like, I'm not giving you my address. So we met at a local grocery store. He was late. I was like on the phone with my sister, like, oh my God, I'm nervous. He's late, whatever. And then I see a truck pulling up near me, and the person in the truck doesn't look like the man on the Bumble profile. So I say to my sister, I'm like, oh, like I fear I got catfished. Like, I see how it could be the same person, but like, I think the Bumble photos probably were like at least 10 years ago. Like they were probably like high school photos, and this is now a grown adult man who no longer looks like that. So I'm not like a shallow looks matter person. Like I really do value personality more. So to me, I'm like, okay, you look a little bit different from your photos, but like you seem nice. I'm not gonna just be like, ew, you don't look like what you said you look like. Bye. Hindsight, probably should have, because like starting off with a lie is probably not the best idea. Now we immediately move into a second lie because we had talked about like values and like personality things, and he had told me that like he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke weed, he doesn't smoke cigarettes, like he uses no substances. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Like same, like I drink socially, but like I don't smoke anything. I also hate being around like cigarette smoke because I have asthma and it triggers my asthma. He gets out of his truck to like greet me and reeks of cigarettes, like actually reeks. He had told me that he smoked when he was younger and that he quit. But like the second he came near me, I was like, oh wow, all right, that's smoke. So not even in the truck yet, and we're already at 2 lies. If me now were there, I would have not gone on the date. But there were a lot of lessons that I hadn't learned yet at that point, and so I continued to get in the truck. Now, this is where it gets interesting because the pre-planned date was to go to Raising Cane's, and there was not a Raising Cane's anywhere near us. We had to drive an hour and a half into a different state to get the Raising Cane's. Now, this wasn't that weird to me because I do this with my friends all the time, but like in hindsight, doing this with a man I met on the internet that I do not know maybe wasn't my safest choice. So he starts driving toward Ohio because that's where the Raising Cane's is. And the whole time in the car, he's like yapping about himself. He acknowledges the smoke and he's like, I'll quit for you. Like, I'll quit for you. And I'm like, bro, we met 5 minutes ago. Like, what do you mean? So he is like asking me questions, but also he talked a lot about himself. It seemed like he was really trying to like impress me, which I think we all do that on dates, obviously. So like, I'm not judging for that, but like, it also just, I was just like, all right, I get it. Like you're hyping yourself up. This is where it takes a turn for the worst, okay? Up until now, it was decently normal. We got to Cane's, we ate our food, he did pay, we finished eating, we got in the truck to go back home. Again, that hour and a half drive, we were just like talking. I was pretty checked out at this point. I had a general idea of like, I knew that I wasn't interested in this man in that way. And we get back to the area where my car is, and then suddenly he's like, I don't want this date to end. Like, I'm having so much fun. I really like you. Like, I want to keep hanging out with you. And I was like, like, I should probably get going. Like, it's getting late. I have to work tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. And he was not picking up what I was putting down. So he pulls out his phone while he's driving and buys movie tickets for right there at the movie theater. And I was like, what? Okay, so he drives us to the movie theater. We get in there. There's no one else in the theater. He wasn't like creepy or inappropriate or anything. He like put his hand on my leg, and that was like the extent of it. But when the movie ended, I stood up, as one does when the movie ends, and he like pulled me back down by my hand. And he's like, no, like, let's just be together. Like, let's just spend time together. And in my head, I'm like, what the actual living fuck? Like, the movie ended, like, let's go. I'm done. I'm over this. I want to go home. He sat in that theater until the employee came in and was like, we need you guys to leave. Like, we have to clean the theater. How long would he have sat there if that employee didn't come in? Like, I was so perplexed as to, and I was also like, that's embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I shit you not, we leave this movie theater and this man is like, oh, like, I just don't want this. Like, what else can we do? Like, I don't want it to, and I'm like, no, like, take me to my car. Like, I need to work tomorrow. Like, take me to my car. I didn't have to work tomorrow, but I was over it. Like, I'm done. This is the world's longest date. It's been like 6 hours at this point when you consider like the hour and a half drive both ways and then the 2-hour movie. Like, bro, like, that's enough. I'm fun and like I can carry a conversation, but like, come on, we're not gonna have a fucking 12-hour date. Like, I'm not doing that. So as he's driving me to my car, he's like, well, I have my work iPad in the back seat. Like, what if we like put the seats down and just like watch a movie in the truck? And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, absolutely not. Recipe for disaster. I'm not doing that. Take me to my car. We get to my car and I was about to like say goodbye and say thank you, and his phone rang and I thought he was gonna decline it. He answered the phone. It was a girl on FaceTime. And first of all, she was dropping the N-word and she should not have been. And then eventually they like played this game of like, she was like, who's in the car? And he's like, no one. And then he showed me on the FaceTime to this girl and she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm his best friend. I didn't know he was with the girl, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever. So he hangs up with this girl and I'm like, all right, I need to leave. And he's like, no, like, stay, blah. And I'm like, I'm leaving. I open the car door. Like, physically, I'm done. I'm out. I'm leaving. He gets out of the car. He walks around the car and lays across my lap. Lays on my lap, you guys. Lays on my lap. And is like, no, like, I don't want it to end. I'm so sad. I physically removed this man from myself. I physically removed him from my person. And I got out of the truck. And I was like, okay, I'm leaving now. Like, I get in my car. I immediately lock the doors because now I have skeevy vibes. And I'm like going to call my sister and I can see him in my peripherals, like waving at me. And I'm like, I crack my window. He cracks his window. He's like, hey, do you want your Raising Cane's leftovers? To which I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah. Because like, I went through that disaster date for 7 hours of my life. The least I deserve is my fucking chicken tenders. So he brings me the box. I say goodbye. He tries to carry on business as normal and like call me that night. And I didn't answer, but I'm not like someone who would ever ghost a person. So I basically just sent a text like, hey, like, thank you for the date. Thanks for everything. But like, I just don't think that like it's the vibe. And then, yeah, we never ever spoke again. And I think that definitely goes down in history as the worst date I've ever been on.
Tell me your wildest first date story. I'll go first.
So ladies, if you have a wig, hold your wig because this is a crazy story. So I met this guy in Chicago, but he was from Atlanta. When I went to go visit in Atlanta to go visit my brother, I kind of let him know, text him, like, hey, I'm in town. We never went out on a date before. So he was like, I'll take you out on a date. So we go to this really nice, dressed really nice, went to a really nice restaurant. And then afterwards, he suggested, let's go to this lounge. I'm not going to say the lounge because Atlanta is kind of small. But afterwards, we went to the lounge. I should have just took my butt home, but I didn't. So we go to the lounge. Everybody know him because he's like a well-known guy in Atlanta. So we're sitting at the table, you know, having a little cocktail or whatever. And I'm just sitting there looking pretty. Out of the blue, this guy came up, ran up. It was like a one-side thing, punched this man. They get the fight. They fall up on the table. They ended up breaking the table. At this point, everybody just kind of went all over. They're fighting around the lounge, literally fighting. So while they're fighting, his keys fall on the ground. I grab his keys. I then go to the bathroom, call my best friend, like, girl, this is crazy, what to do? She said, it's time for you to leave. But get in mind, I have this man keys. So I'm looking around. I guess he went out the back door. So I go out the front door and I'm by myself. I see him walking up to me and I'm walking up to him. I'm trying to give him his keys. Whoever the guy he was fighting in the lounge came up out of nowhere, literally, and hit this man upside his head. Literally knocked him clean out right in front of me. He's laid out on the ground, literally eyes looking straight, not blinking. I'm scared. My first thing is, I'm from Chicago. Are they coming to come get the gun? I gotta get up out of here. But I didn't leave him there. I ended up staying to make sure he was good. I go run in his car. This is before I knew how to start a car with the push to start. I'm nervous, my heart beating fast. I'm probably sweating trying to start his car, and I just can't start it because I'm nervous. I don't know how to start this push to start. It was wild. So the security guard knows him as well. So they ended up taking him to like the side. So I ended up getting on the phone with this comedian, which is a well-known comedian. So his friend was just trying to make sure he was good, and I'm making sure he was good and that he was in good hands. So he's sitting there with a big stupid knot on his head. It was wild. It was so wild. I had already called the Uber to come get me because it's time to go right now. Because like I said, we're gonna take it back. I'm from Chicago. You never know how stuff like that ends. So it's time to get up out of here. But when I say y'all, I was spooked the entire ride. Like literally looking over my shoulder. I didn't know what was going on.
And that is the end of today's dating horror story. Honestly, I'm still recovering from that one. What about you? If you've got a wild story of your own, drop it in the comments. You might just see it in the next thread. And remember, if they give you the ick, run.